In my experience in various Christian traditions as a sojourner of faith and as a student and eventually as a pastor, I've found that it isn't hard for people to believe that there's such a concept as sin or that they could be sinful. Most people are pretty in tune with their own idiosyncrasies, I've learned, and can see that the society in large can do better at treating one another with this kind of love that we talk about in Christian language and tradition. The consistently harder sell, in my experience, is for people to see themselves as worthy of love, especially the kind of perfect, divine love that we tend to wax poetic about in churches like ours. And I know the struggle is real. I face it myself. Let's look at a more down-to-earth example. My wife Kelsey and I have been in a relationship for 17 years together, which is almost half of our lives. We have more memories in our lives of being together than we do of the before times. We've been through a lot, we've seen a lot, and yet sometimes she will hold my hand or catch my eye and say a heartfelt, "I love you." And all I could think to say in response is, "Why?" I could kind of see why she might feel that way when we were dating. She was always getting the best put together, wittiest, and most charming version of me. But after 16 years and 12 of them being married, she's seen the truth. The anxious, indecisive, sometimes agitated and grumpy, not always so sweet, yells at the TV when watching football, sometimes doesn't get the clothes in the hamper, unfiltered version. It's the me that I personally have a lot of trouble believing is worthy of love. How much more does God know about the doubts, the fears, the wanderings, the anger, the cynicism, any number of things in my heart we might call sinful? And how much more does the Spirit know about my hesitancies to follow? And yet Paul says, the Holy Spirit makes God's parenthood real to us as it whispers into our innermost being, "You are God's beloved child." Kelsey will say the same thing to me. She can see and focuses on her own perceived shortcomings, but when I look at her, I see and receive the love and particulars of her personality and actions that she doesn't even notice or give herself credit for. And she does the same thing in me. When God sees us, God sees the truest version of who we are created to be, God's beloved children. And not generically, but for all of the unique and indelibly creative marks of God's hands that make you who you are. And if that's a struggle for you to believe, then let's struggle together. It's a worthwhile effort, perhaps the fundamental grappling of our existence. When we are in touch with our created identity, we are fulfilling Jesus' vision of us having life and having it to the fullest.